Well, hello, Friday night racers and, of course, spectators, and thanks for joining us again on the AOSC. It is Friday night, round number 11, coming from Charlotte this week, all thanks to Jinx Shifters, of course, and as well as our other sponsors, simrigs.com, Sydney Computers, Bowler Media, and Sideways Photography, Race Circuit Art Australia, AJ Insurance Services, and, of course, Track Cams for Gourmets. Joining me once again, though, in the commentary box to talk about everything that's happening tonight is, of course, Daniel Leet and Matthew Norris. Welcome tonight, guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Big weekend. It's the Anzac weekend, and a few of the races have chosen to put the Anzac livery on, which is absolutely fantastic. And for those who watch the pre-race show, we, of course, played the last post and paid a bit of respect to, everyone who has served previously and currently. And as you can see on screen there, we have the big Anzac livery on board, which we did show a photo of this at the pre-race show. It looks absolutely fantastic. And with a big Anzac weekend, we hope everyone is attending a dawn service or having their own little dawn service. But tonight, we are going to be back here and racing at round number 11 from Charlotte. And a bit of a shout out to all of our WA people who are watching or racing. I mean, I think the iRacing accounts are going to be getting a bit of a workout this weekend with a bit of a lockdown happening over there. But it's good for the races, that's all I know.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw it earlier last year when the COVID came through. A lot more people jumped online. I think it really bolsters the racing. As you say, too, awesome to see a couple of the liveries coming out for the Anzac tribute as well, which will be a fantastic thing to see. And hopefully we'll see a lot of these guys also make the trip down for that early morning dawn service on Sunday.
And we're 13 and a half minutes into qualifying at the moment, Norrie, and look who is on top. Someone who has been away, I believe it was round 2 where we saw him. A big incident on the final corner of the final lap with James Scott, but he's come out and he is dominating here tonight in qualifying.
You're not wrong there, Matty. It was round 2 at Road America. Last time we saw Andrew Gilliam on track, and he's back at the top of the timesheet. So this is exactly what he wants. Another dicey battle with James Scott coming right up.
Yeah, Corey Shepherd is in P2 as well. Now, he outpaced James Scott in qualifying last week as well. So they found a little bit more pace in the Mr. Antenna Mustang and just seemed to be outpacing a little bit in qualifying. James Scott, though, is the master of race. So we'll see how he goes tonight as you see him in pit about to do some outlaps. Some others out there. Looks like Jordan Ross is back in P4 at the moment in qualifying. And that was another good one last week. Ended up in P3 after having a string of bad luck in the series. Tom Freer's back after that pit lane penalty last week, which saw what was probably a very smart strategy go to waste, unfortunately, and pushed him back in the field too. So he is in P5. Andrew Dyson, the simrigs.com DPR card, just goes to 6. Brian Borg in 7, so hasn't had the best qualifying recently. Good to see him well and truly in the top 10. Aaron Dodd is in 8, Kenneth Latter in 9, and Damien Johnson just in the top 10. Of course, Adam Briggs just outside that. And Dylan Rudd, who we caught up with in the pre-race show in the NSR Esports car, in P12 at the moment. Now, Aaron Dodd last week was another one. Big race incident and did not finish the race. So important for him to get back and get some points in the championship once again.
Yeah, definitely. Points and consistency going to be key for those guys that really want to make a run, as we're well over halfway now. We're closing in towards the back end of the championship with only 5 more races left in it. So still plenty more points for these guys to gain, but less opportunity to claw those points back if they do have a bit of an awful race.
And last week with 300 kilometres, Norrie, there was plenty of time to claw that back, wasn't there? Whereas this week we go back to a 150-kilometre race, so it's 40 laps around here at Charlotte. Last time round here was season 9, James Scott took the win. So a different race strategy this week.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And that shorter race strategy, I mean, 40 laps around this joint is not long. There are 1 minute 15 lap, as we're seeing from our qualifying, and it's going to be quick and really short paced. The interesting thing to look out for tonight, safety cars, because there will be one. I can guarantee it. There is a tight, twisty part of this circuit through the roval bit, and then you've got the wide banking on the oval. So it'll be interesting to see who can maximise the inners of the circuit, for lack of a better term, and get the exit onto the oval.
Yeah, I think we're going to find a lot, though, with those bus stop sort of areas there. Of course, turn 11, turn 12, as well as down turn 15, 16, 17. They're really tight there. If we end up too wide at any point through there, that is going to be very interesting. Also, turn number 1, as you come around the left-hander to start the race, it is so narrow there, and it is concrete walls either side. So, all it's going to take is one car to glance the concrete. It's going to ping-pong across the track, possibly cause all sorts of carnage. And then you've got everyone coming out of pit exit as well, getting involved in that. And as we've witnessed, the road is not very wide there, so it's going to be very tricky. Everyone's going to have to be on their relative, their mirrors. They're going to have all the graphics turned up to find out exactly what's going on. This is going to be a very tricky lap to get around for 40 times we have to do that tonight.
Definitely, and I mean, you just touched on there, turn one being very tricky. Think about, too, the guys starting further down in the field tonight that are starting down in that 14, 15, 16 corner complex as we watch Jordan Ross work his way through it now. That's going to be really tricky for those guys. Cold tyres, trying to navigate these cars through on those 90-degree corners. That's another area where we could potentially see those incidents come through, because we've seen Jordan go through that turn one complex. Doesn't leave a lot of room in the event there is someone there that does end up sideways.
And no, the transition to the banking, especially when you come around that inside part of the track where we are now, he's going to head round turn 6, turn 7. As they come up turn 8, that transition onto the banking, really going to have to be careful on the throttle.
And not just the banking, the roller coaster part of this race circuit as well. The car is sort of moving all the time. So you're getting that lateral grip, you're getting the front, rear sort of boat movement. And you sort of got to get the car moving and get all the corners of the car working. So it's really difficult to get up on the banking, really difficult to get the car stopped when you're in a braking zone and you got to battle the front against the gravity of the hill.
Yeah, earlier in the season we caught up with James Scott and he said he likes to slide the car a little bit, and it might not be a bad little way to get it round here tonight, especially coming out of those corners. If you can control the slide nicely, I think it might assist you a little bit tonight. Especially like you say, because the cars aren't going to have even weight on the tyres for many of the corners here due to the undulation and everything that's happening there in the banking. But very fast around that banking, though, you can really get the car up to speed, and then you've got heavy braking into those bus stop regions. So we'll wait and see how people deal with that. Of course, we've had a couple of updates to the cars over the last couple of months, so a lot of different setup changes, and everyone seems to have got their head around that, and we haven't really seen anyone go backwards from those new builds either. That's been very interesting, that we've actually seen a lot of other names start to appear and get in those battles in the top 10.
Definitely, and I mean, we think back when we spoke to Adam Briggs through in the Midway show, he was giving some pretty decent explanation of how these cars have evolved with the recent iRacing changes, and while not going into a lot of secrets on what you need to get the most out of them, as you say, we're seeing these teams now really start to lift and come back through as they now get that bit of time and momentum to work on these cars. I think the biggest thing, obviously, from what we saw last week out at Hockenheim, was that braking zone down into the hairpin was really tricky. Now, this spot right here down on the back straight is probably going to be that one tricky spot where there's a lot of speed and potential that these guys are going to wash out. So hopefully they've learned a little bit from last week's event, or last fortnight's event. They can apply that here tonight as well.
Down to the last moments of qualifying here, of course, at Charlotte in the AOSC round number 11. AOSC10 it is, season number 10, race 186, all thanks to Jinx Shifters. As we get around the final moments of trying to get across that start-finish line and try and get one more lap in. Andrew Gilliam is leading it at the moment, and it's not by much. It's by 23 thousandths of a second over Corey Shepherd. We go back another 73 thousandths of a second to James Scott. So that is the talking point. He is actually going to be on row number 2, and he has not started on row 2 once this season.
No, it's a very different scenario to what we've seen from James, as you say, throughout the entirety of this season so far campaign. He's been off that front row, so be a little bit different for him. I don't expect it's going to hinder him too much. However, and he's going to be in a really good spot to start this race. Let's see whether he takes the fuel-saving strategy option early on, though.
Michael Taliancic, let's talk about him. Last week he went up 32 positions. I know it was double the amount of race, which means technically he could do 16 positions here tonight, maybe. But he started out at 44. Tonight he's actually in 16 at the moment. So that is very interesting. Corey Shepherd's just gone P1 by the looks of it, has he? He has just done that by 8 thousandths of a second over Gilliam in the final moments of qualifying. How is that for Corey Shepherd? He now puts himself in front of James Scott on the start as well. That's going to be so important for Scott to make sure his start is spot on tonight. Corey Shepherd, can he hold on with a 150-kilometre race? We know with the 300, James Scott was very patient, but with 150, he's going to have to get a move on. Let's see how they round out, though, in the qualifying. Michael Taliancic still finishing off. I spoke about him. P16, so a lot better than the 44 he started out of last week. So we'll see how he goes tonight. Whether he can make 16 positions in 150 kilometres or 40 laps around here at Charlotte. It's going to be very tricky tonight. Well, thanks to Jinx Shifters, of course, as well as our other sponsors, simrigs.com, Sydney Computers, Bowler Media and Sideways Photography, Race Circuit Art Australia, AJ Insurance Services, and we can't thank Track Cams for Gourmets enough for bringing us these beautiful pictures up there, and a bit of a shout out to Nick Hausler, who's back here doing our production this week. He missed last week, but it's good to have him back this week. He's locked down over in WA and nothing better to do than go iRacing all weekend, so he's got a lucky weekend ahead of him. Let's run through, though, our qualifying at the moment here for round number 11 after they've just completed their qualifying session. We've got 32 cars in the mix at the moment. So 32 cars have qualified for tonight's race, and it looks like Corey Shepherd is going to start out number 1. And Andrew Gilliam, 8 thousandths of a second in P2. James Scott back in P3. Watch him. Andrew Dyson in 4. That's a good result from him. He just got past Jordan Ross in the final moments there. Jordan Ross goes back to row number 3 in P5. Tom Free alongside in 6th. Brian Borg in 7th, Adam Briggs in 8th. 9th is Kenneth Latta. Aaron Dodd will round out the top 10 in row number 5 in the NSR Esports entry. Then we go to Dylan Rudd in 11. 12 was Damien Johnson, and he's been really fast recently. Thomas Hins doing quite well there in 13. Jamie Dyke in 14, the Fishy Motorsports entry. Then it's 15, Rob Bowden up there in the Tanked SRT entry. 16 is Michael Taliancic. Stephen Varga in 17. Robin Kirk in 18. 19 is Sebastian Flock. Christian Smart in 20. Brenton Nitsky in 21 will start out of row 11 with Greg Sharp alongside with that great livery on board. David Kimmond in 23, Wade Sheedy in 24. 25 is Nicholas Timors and Daniel Misdale in 26. 27, we go back to Chris Barnes in another of the Tanked SRT entries. Tyson McAvoy in the One Performance Racing in 28. 29 is Jaden Borg and Harry Dodds. That's row 15. Matthew Brunt and Brad Doble will round out our final row, of course. That's row number 16 here tonight. 32 entries. AOSC 10 it is, all thanks to Jinx Shifters. Race number 11, or round 11, come to you from Charlotte here tonight. Dan, Norrie, I can't wait to get this race started. Look at them banked up, all back through 17, 16 and 15. Will we have carnage on the opening lap?
Look, fingers crossed we don't have it, but there's every chance it's going to be there.
All right, the lights are up. We're about to get underway with racing here. Hope you're on the edge of your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're tuned into our YouTube channel, and here we go, underway. Smoking the tyres though. Who is that? That's Jordan Ross going back a number of positions already. He has moved right back and going back down the pack again. Now they're all starting to work. The Damien Johnson's had an absolutely fantastic start, and he is moving through the pack. Christian Smart is up 8 positions already. This is an incredible start. Gilliam had not a great start either. He is now back 3 positions. So it looked like he got away all right, but a bit later on in that start, something has happened to him too, and he is moving back in the field. Tom Freer up 3 positions into P3, so let's just hope he can get on the brakes in the pit lane.
Got a safety car, boys.
Whoa. Well, we said one safety. Look at the damage. There's damage in the background, and who is that? Is that Damien Johnson in 9? Because he's now dropped back a bit. It looks like... just looked like a bit of wear and tear on one of the cars there. I think one of the darker livery cars. It looked like maybe Damien Johnson, or maybe a few positions back. There's
it looks like a few involved. Well, I think looking at what I can see based on the timing, Robin Kirk's involved in that one. Michael Taliancic involved in that as well, so that's dropped him well down. Greg Sharp was another one of those darker cars that was involved in it as well. Thomas Hins.
Ryan Borg as well. Thomas Hins. Wow, that's a huge one.
Yeah, I mean, this all sort of started too off the opening lap as well, as we see when the guy's trying to get away. Jaden Borg actually got a little bit of nose-to-tail contact.
Oh, this has happened out the start, and this is after turn 1 that we spoke about. The very narrow area with concrete either side. Now, if one car glances the concrete, it is a pinball effect, and you just can't get out of the way. There's no way to get around this one. Just have a look who it is.
Oh. Well, that started with Brian Borg all the way up the front. I think it might have been Aaron Dodd involved in that as well.
Well, Borgie's in reverse now, so he's trying to get the car back. He is in the pits, and I'm just trying to see if he's actually trying to repair that car, because it looks like a major issue for him. Thomas Hins looks like he is out of... Oh, so an NSR gets sideways.
Dodd.
Which one that is? That's Dodd, is it? Yep. Oh, he's had another shocker this week. Last week he went out due to the amount of damage on his car, and it looks like that may happen again. And that very tricky turn 1, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, and we all sort of thought that was going to be the case. We'll have another couple of looks at it. So it starts here from Dodd, just trying to go 3 wide through turn 1 on the outside, losing the rear end. Borgie and the guys really didn't have anywhere to go, and I think smart awareness from Borgie. He's put it in reverse, tried to clear a little bit of a path for the guys to continue cycling through, but many of the guys involved in that really unwitting victims as a result of it. So there's a lot of wrecked cars that are going to come down the lane there, as we touched on before. We said, Brian Borg involved that, Robin Kirk, Christian Smart, Aaron Dodd, the big one, Thomas Hins, Taliancic, Greg Sharp, who we saw sideways across the circuit as well. Those guys are all going to have to come through the lane, get some repair where possible, and then get back out. But it's a long run from starting further down the grid now.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult as they come off the back with a 150k race. In an endurance race, plenty of opportunity to come back. It was such a short race, only 40 laps, and we're going to chew a few of those under safety car now because it is not a big track. You know, they're doing this in a minute 15, probably, maybe I'm going to say minute 16 in race mode. You know, they're going to chew up quite a few laps getting around behind the safety car now because they're going to have to get everyone in there for a quick repair as well. So it's really going to hinder them on the start. Corey Shepherd's out the front. James Scott, though, has moved up in that second position, and I'm not quite sure what has happened, obviously, to Andrew Gilliam because he is back 20 positions, and I don't understand. He was actually out in front at that point. So he started off row number 1, actually, on P2 at the outside of Corey Shepherd. So something's happened to him too, and very unlucky for him as we see some more cars pulling in for repairs in the background. So that is another one, and we might try and see what happened to Gilliam here as he comes around. Now, he's already lost a number of positions there because he was in P2, and there I'm going to guess he was actually about P6 or 7, and gone back. Well, he's gone back 19 positions at the moment. We've got someone in pits, but he's in P21. And just trying to find out exactly what happened on this replay at the moment. There we go. Jordan Ross is just on the inside of him at the moment, and they're just trying to find out where they're meant to be under safety car at this point because it has already been called out. But maybe he has decided to come in the pits. I'm just thinking he actually has had a pit stop. That is why. So he has gone and pitted early. Maybe. Would you, Norrie, you wouldn't think you'd get this done if you pitted now, would you?
No, it's far too early to get this stop done. He won't fit all the fuel in the car. He might be trying to yeah, but I doubt that.
No, it's a good one for James Scott. That gives him an easy 1 position there. Tom Frere, though, 3 positions. So he's had an absolutely ripper start as well. Andrew Dyson's managed to hold on to his position. Adam Briggs up 3 positions as well. So the Simmerings DPR boys getting in there. Jordan Ross back 1 position. Now, with all that happening with Aaron Dodd, though, this is the main people who have gained a number of positions. Kenneth Latter in 7th is up 2. Damien Johnson up 4 positions. Rob Bowden's got through. He's up 6 positions. Stephen Varga's up 7. Sebastian Flock is 8, up 8 positions in 11. Jamie Dyke into 12th. Brenton Nitschke in 8th. 11 positions now for Nicholas Timors and Daniel Misdale. But the lights are out on the safety car, and we're about to get back underway, boys. And you can see James Scott is tucked in right under the rear spoiler of Corey Shepherd. Scott obviously is the master of restarts, and they can pretty much restart anywhere from here. From about turn 16, 17, they can get underway. And here we go. We lead away. Frere in 3rd position there up on your screen at the moment. Just in front, though, 2 of the 3 people that dominated qualifying. Of course, Corey Shepherd was 1. Andrew Gilliam's now, you know, waiting for a pit. We don't know why, but he's dropped right back with James Scott in P2 at the moment. Frere behind him. And Frere needs to watch out because Andrew Dyson is right up under that wing, taking advantage of as much of that aero as possible.
Yeah, I was just watching Corey Shepherd as he worked his way through 1 there. The car really not wanting to hook up. Obviously, we lost a little bit of tyre pressure in it, but it's probably going to take him a lap or 2 to really find the confidence back in the front end of that car. And that's allowing James Scott to close right in behind, along with Frere and Dyson and Briggs. They're all coming at him now.
Here we go. They get around up onto this banking, and it is full throttle, heaps of speed, but they're going to have to be careful under brakes there as they'll start to approach now and come down the back. Down to this bus stop section. Here we go. They get in through that nicely at the moment, which is what you want. A lot of curb usage will be used here, and it'll be interesting to see how the cars respond to that over time and what sort of damage that they sustain through iRacing with that, with the constant, you know, shock on that suspension as they get around these laps. It is only 40 laps, of course. We will have a pit stop at some point there. Of course, we are getting roughly about just under 3 litres to a lap, so they will have to fill up. They can get... Norrie, what are we suspecting? Probably in the late 20s, so 25 to 30 laps where we expect to see him pit?
I would have expected 29 from the start. The safety car might take that out to 31, though.
Let's see whether they're going to, the tyres are going to last on that, though, as they go around. But we're looking at Andrew Gilliam now is on a bit of a charge. Already made up a couple of positions on that restart, which we would suspect him being down the field that much and the pace he carried in qualifying. I'm not really surprised to see him move up that many positions, but of course Nicholas Timor is making a great start there. Obviously, you know, a bit unfortunate for other people. Jaden Borg goes up 12 positions into P17. Tyson McEvoy is up 10 positions into 18. So plenty happening down the pack at the moment. You can see up there those gorgeous liveries, and great to see him having that Anzac livery on board for Jaden Borg this weekend from the Dakota Sim Sports guys. He is ducked in right behind Daniel Misdale from the Simrigs DPR team. And yes, probably very fortunate with that lap 1 incident, but can they hold out the rest of the field who's going to be on a real push now to try and make their way through? And of course, you've got Andrew Gilliam, who is going to try and split them and make as many positions as possible in this very short 40-lap race. We're already just starting lap number 6. So when you think of that, we are 1/8 of the way through the race already, and most of that has been under safety car, guys.
Yeah, it has been interesting to see how this sort of worked out, and I think it's now going to start really settling into the rhythm for these guys. They're getting the momentum back in. The cars are back up to temperature. It's surprising we're already seeing a fairly big gap starting to run with the first 5 cars starting to get a bit of a breakaway here at the moment over the guys behind. So we're already getting a bunch of packs as this works through. But I mean, that's going to really present some interesting stuff mid-race, especially with these guys now working their way back up through the field. As we have a look here at Chris Barnes, who I thought was in a little bit of struggle getting off the line there, because I did notice was Jaden Borg having a bit of a bump and run as they worked their way out of turn 17 on the opening lap. So fallen a little bit down, but still gained 6 spots. So these guys pressing on quite nicely. The other tanked car well up the order with Rob Bowden up in 8th position. So a good showing from these guys early on.
Very damaged Brian Borg in the background of that, still missing his bonnet, but he's obviously got enough repairs done to rejoin us in the race as we get on board with Stephen Varga now, who's holding out a charging Damien Johnson. Now, he made quite a number of positions to start with, but dropped back a couple, I think, just trying to avoid that big crash on turn 1 of lap 1. But he is right back up under that back wing of Stephen Varga now from the United Sim Sports entry. Andrew Gilliam still pushing his way through. Looks like a little lock up of the brakes there now, and he is on the back of Jaden Borg. Already got through Tyson McAvoy. And he's going to be all over the back of this Coda Sim Sports entry in the Mustang there as they head through this little concrete section here out of turn 1. Really need to be careful there, don't we? We've already seen the lock up of the brakes. Going to give Gilliam a chance to come down the inside here. He puts the nose in, and he'll have to relinquish that position there for Jaden Borg, but that's all right. He knows Andrew Gilliam was much faster pace there. We did expect him to grab quite a few positions in these first opening laps here. Daniel Misdale also locking the brakes up. Now, Norrie, we are seeing so many brake lock-ups here, and this is what you spoke about earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the undulation, the roller coaster effect of the Roval circuit, and then combined when you do get the car unweighted up onto the oval. All 4 wheels are in different spots of the car at all 4 times, and they're working at different rates. We saw earlier on Jordan Ross mount this curb, climbing over it 4 wheels off the deck. So interesting to see how these cars handle this abuse all night.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they go tonight. But, we see him getting around at the moment, Sebastian Flock now, and he is just holding out Jamie Dyke, obviously in the Fishing Motorsports entry as they come around. So Flock now in P11 at the moment, and he is up 8 positions in Pursuit Sim Racing entry from where he started out of P19. So that's a fantastic little charge for him. Like so, we probably did lose about 8 guys in that crash. So it's about right and puts them right in the middle of the pack. 32 cars entered tonight here for round number 11 in the main game. As you can see, Jaden Borg just going back that 1 position. Gilliam now all over the back of Misdale. He is looking for another, and if he gets Misdale, then chances are he's going to get Timors just out in front as well. As you can see him right up under that back wing. We jump on board now with Misdale. You can see off the front splitter. Gilliam now doing another move, slides the car a little bit, comes up the inside, or don't know if there was contact there, guys.
I think he just got away with that one, but this is a really telling run for Gilliam at the moment. The front grip in that car is absolutely sensational as he's able to get it in a little bit tighter on the mid-corner and use that to his advantage to drive it out. As he comes down under the brakes, it's a very nicely controlled car. He just gives him a slight little nudge on the mid-corner there, but this car looking very, very good as he works his way back through. Did hear from Race Control as well, the 777, which is piloted by Michael Taliantich tonight, will get a drive-through penalty as well. So we'll expect to see Michael come down the lane and a little bit of a worse run getting even worse for him tonight.
Yeah, he's coming off a great run last week where he made 32 positions out of dead last and ended up way up in 12th position. So unfortunately for him, it doesn't look like it's going to be his night tonight. And he's had some up and down races throughout the series. And Gilliam looks like he might get the move done, and he does. He's going to hold on to it this time. So moving back through the pack now into P16. Started out of P2. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. P2 is where Andrew Gilliam started. And for some reason, he dropped back a number of positions on the start and then took a bit of travel through pit lane there. So not quite sure why he did that under safety car as we get on board now with Tom Free. You can see him hanging off the rear spoiler at the moment, and right behind him is Andrew Dyson. And the simrigs.com DPR cars, they've got this set up really well since the change of car as well. I don't know what they're doing there, but they just seem to be really good in race pace. The qualifying's quite consistent there. I wouldn't say they're top 3, but they're very consistent in the qualifying. But when it comes to racing, they just seem to find that next gear, and they just keep going at it and going at it, and the car seems really settled here. He's putting it all on. We're taking the front of the splitter off of Dyson at the moment, and Freya's got to watch out here. Every one of his mirrors is filled with a Simrigs car at the moment. Jordan Ross just behind, and Adam Briggs, who's been super impressive, is back in P6 in the background as well.
Yeah, not much separating these 4 on circuit as well. They have been dropped now a little ways by James Scott and Corey Shepherd. The gap to those guys out front just shy of 3 seconds at the moment. But this is a great little fight just to see the different strategies and setup styles that both Synergy and DPR are deploying on these cars. As you can see in the back there, Ross now getting all over the back of Dyson. That'll give Freya a little bit of breathing room as they work their way up towards the bus stop.
Yeah, I don't know what Freya's strategy is going to be tonight. Last week it just didn't play out right for him, unfortunately, but he did have the right strategy. If everything had gone to plan, he didn't get that pit lane penalty, he definitely would have moved up a number of positions when we look back on the data after the race. So whether he's got talking with his teammate there and saying, mate, put as much pressure on him, Jordan, as you can, because he just needs to open up a little bit of air there so he can get away from Andrew Dyson at the moment. And you got to remember, with Dyson slowing down a bit and Ross putting all that pressure on, Adam Briggs now comes into the equation there, and that's going to be a little battle for 6th position his 4th position as Tom Freya just gets a little bit of air between them. I don't think it's going to be enough though to pull away from this pack. They've got into a nice little battle now, these 4. So it's position 3, Tom Freya just leading this one. Then you've got Andrew Dyson, Jordan Ross and Adam Briggs. So 3 to 6, they are battling it out on screen at the moment. This one's going to turn into a great little fight, I think, as we go on. He moves out there in the background. Mr. Briggs shows the front of his car in the side mirror to Jordan Ross. Mate, this could be an SVG move any moment, really, from those guys at the back, especially when you're talking Adam Briggs. I know he put a couple of moves on last week. The slightest mistake, a lock-up from the brakes, and Tom Freya now could see 3 cars go past him. So he's probably under the most pressure at the moment. One little mistake is going to cost him 3 positions, possibly. As we look back, Kenneth Latta just behind, so there's a little bit of a gap back to him, and these ones in a little battle pack. And as you can see, Dyson now puts a move on Tom Freya, gets on the brakes, and Tom Freya runs wide. Yeah, he goes straight ahead. He's pulled out of that one, so is he going to have to just pull back in behind now? Because obviously he will grab some sort of redress penalty for that, I assume, Norrie?
Yeah, he'll get a cut track penalty for that, and it looks like he's boxing straight away. So whether there's a technical fail there or a strategy fail, off on the grass there. So that was this battle pack, like you were saying, Matty, is intensifying, and we're seeing both Simrigs cars side by side, door to door.
This is a replay on screen now to see exactly what happened. Jordan Ross putting all that pressure on the back of Adam Briggs. Adam Briggs has moved up Dyson, and you can see there, just gets the move done. It looked pretty clean there, actually. I thought there's probably a lot more to it. No, and there a little bit of a nudge, a lot of curb usage. So I thought maybe, yeah, Jordan Ross had cut a curb there, but no, a little bit of a helping hand from the splitter there on Dyson. So it looks like that sort of got redressed there as well on its own. So as we go back to the race, back live here at round number 11 from Charlotte for the Jinx Shifters AOSC. As you can see, Jordan Ross now fighting to get back into this race, now in P3, back where he was last week on the podium, and pulling it up here. He's got to watch out though, the Simrigs boys are all over the back of him. And we move back there and in the thing, and there's Kenneth Latta, Rob Bowden as well, Stephen Varga, Damien Johnson. Watch for him to start to make a bit of a move too. He's up 3 positions into P9 now, so he's just got into that top 10 as it's all happening down the back of the field as well. David Kimmin there in P24 now, getting a move done. Looks like he's been followed by Christian Smart as well. He's got Harry Dodd in the background there. Now he's going to put the brakes on, is he? The car looking very unsettled there as he comes off the banking under brakes. Bit of a tricky section there at the moment. So Kimmin though will get around the track racer entry. All thanks to Pursuit Sim Racing. Borg, look at the number 17 out in front. That thing is missing a bonnet. It is beaten up, boys.
But it's still making pretty good lap speed at the moment. He's able to hold off the guys behind with just getting a move done on McAvoy. He's got Jaden Borg just ahead. as we see Greg Sharp now entering back in. So Sharp already a lap down after his second pit stop tonight. That was a lengthy one for him, 58 seconds. But these guys behind really getting into it as McAvoy there with a huge moment on the exit.
Yeah, Nicholas Timor was missing a bonnet as well. I noticed a bit earlier on in that little battle that's going on. Thomas Hinds now, he went back a number of positions, unfortunately caught up in that turn 1, lap 1 incident. So that's probably hurt him. Like you said, didn't qualify in the top 10 again. He's always just outside the top 10. He's back 7 positions at the moment in P20. So the Henry James Racing entry, Thomas Hinds, just getting back into race mode there and get that muscle memory back as we get some laps under his belt. Just chasing down Tyson McAvoy in front. Oh, he takes a big curb there too. Pushes the car out. You think Hinds might get a little bit of a drive advantage here as they go up onto the banking, maybe get on that rear wing and really use the draft to go around the outside. I mean, we've got to say they don't have guys slingshot engaged. He comes down the inside and looks like he's going to get that move done as well.
Well, he used the side draft really nicely there, and I mean we'd already seen it a few laps ago for Jordan Ross trying to just sneak his way under on the banking, just getting the wheels below the yellow line, the white line there. I wonder if some of the spotters are going out and letting their drivers know you've got that little bit extra track space. You can try and use that to get those moves done. So we may see that all come to a head a little bit later on. As we have a quick look here back at Wade Sheedy up in 12th position, 12 spots gained. It's been a very good run for him so far. He was able to keep his nose clean in that earlier lap 1 incident that we saw, and he's sitting pretty comfortable, not that far outside the top 10.
Yeah, Wade Sheedy needs to watch out though. Andrew Gilliam is right behind him with the Shoot Sim Racing entry and closing down very quickly. But we go back to the leaders of the race at the moment. Now, Corey Shepherd was your number 1 qualifier again this week. He got in front of James Scott. James Scott actually started out of row 2 if you just joined us on the coverage. Yes, row 2, James Scott. I know you haven't heard that all season. It's the first time. But he was back in row 2 with Andrew Gilliam alongside Corey Shepherd on the start. Let's not talk about Gilliam. He's gone back if you just joined us. Something's happened to him. He's gone back. Corey Shepherd, though, holding out James Scott. But the laps are counting down. We're on lap 15 of 40 already. So we're almost at the halfway point of this race. And James Scott can't be as patient as he was last week when we had a 300-kilometre race. He needs to put a bit of pressure on, apply that. We know, though, he is the absolute on point when it comes to pit stop strategy, though. And we're talking like half a second to a second difference sometimes. The big undercut there. So he will not want to lose Corey Shepherd. Worst scenario will be that he will try and beat him in the pit stop strategy. Corey Shepherd, though, you would think would have the spotter. They would be aware of this and they would be doing the calculations down to the final milliliter of fuel just to make that happen. However, with Shepherd in front and Scott behind, Norrie, what is the chances that Scott might take that early pit as a bit of a strategy to get in front of Shepherd in the long run?
I think if you reverse those names, Shepherd might take the early pit stop and Scott might take the later pit stop. That generally seems to be the Altus way if we've looked historically at this sort of thing. But tonight's a different race. Like you have said, it's not an endurance race. He doesn't have the opportunity to run long, so he might pull that trick card as that Brian Borg car still lacks a bonnet and a bumper and is still in the watch.
Anyway, it's not going to get hot. There is nothing stopping fresh air getting in the front of Borgie's car. Oh, Thomas Hinds is right behind Borgie now, and it looks like Jaden Borg is all over the back of him in the 94 car, and right behind him will be Aaron Dodd as well. So getting their way back into the mix, these cars, some of them involved in the earlier incident. You can tell by the amount of scars, I suppose, all over the cars. Oh, no,
Borg
big
another
roll
one.
over. Borgie's missed that one, I think, too. Is that number 7?
Daniel Misdale.
Oh, Misdale.
Now that was because Misdale was squeezing Borgie to the wall there, and Borgie didn't have safety cars. So you boys are going to get your call out of 2 safety cars, but Borgie and Misdale ran out of room.
Yeah, well, hang on. Let's go right back to the start of that because Misdale got hung out a little bit there on the initial turn 1, and that really slowed him up there. You've got the 621 involved in that as well. That was Nicholas Timor's. So Timor's ran him a bit wide. Borgie trying to get that opportunistic move didn't quite make it come off, and for Misdale, a lot of damage down the side of that car.
Oh, Misdale's had nowhere to go. He's come down, probably didn't even know Borg was there, to be quite honest. There is no room. Look at this. You can see there is absolutely no room there, and there's no grass to run off. You can't cut a corner. If you come down and someone's there, you are going to make contact, and Borg, unfortunately, involved in that one. Misdale, I think it's going to be hard for that car to return. It may do, as we have a bit of a look down here. I'm going to say he is in, I'm just having a look for him in pit lane at the moment. Looks like he's still making his, is he still out there moving around at the moment? Oh no. What's this? Is this the safety car? Have they done pit lane, have they now? They have come out of their pit.
They've tried to jump the safety car out of the pit lane. So damage report of Borgie is his car is still Borgified.
Bonnet-free Borg. That's what we're going to call him from now. You can't, contain Borgie. As we check out a bit of a replay of the pit exit, side by side, it lets you do that, doesn't it? iRacing overlap each other here as they come out of pit exit and they try to come around and the safety car is waiting for them and now they have to stop. So once again, James Scott, the master of the pit stop is what I'm going to call him. He has done, I would have thought actually looking at the pit stop times, it's not that different.
Well, there's not much in it at all. It's only 0.3 quicker for Scott, but he's been able to save a lot of fuel while sitting behind Corey Shepherd. He hasn't been able to give away any advantage to whether he's going to make the run later on in the lap or not. I think this is a bit of an interesting one for him now. He puts him in front. He gives Corey a really good look at how he's working this car through and potentially going to give Corey a bit of an indication where he can be a little bit quicker. And think about it, they've got not that long to go before we get to the final phase of this race. This is going to be really interesting to see how Corey wants to unpack it.
So how will this go for tyres? And I mean, obviously fuel is going to be absolutely fine, Norrie. What are we looking at tyres here? Are we going to find the cars are going to, fair bit of degradation going to happen now they come in on lap 17?
If they keep locking those tyres, I see that being a concern for them. But given the short nature of this race, it's only 40 laps. We're almost at half distance. Those tyres didn't seem to be going off, and Shepherd and Scott will be maintaining that sort of gap. It does bring Dyson and Jaden and Jordan Ross back into the play sort of thing, but no, tyres shouldn't be an issue. They'll be fueled, ready to go.
Yeah, Jaden Borg was just, I noticed, gone into pits because he had not pitted yet, so this might hurt him a little bit in his little strategy. Jordan Ross now moves up into P4 off the back, so he is still lurking. Adam Briggs in 5, Kenneth Latter in 6th, Damian Johnson now in 7th, and he's pitted as well. Very short pit stop, probably the quickest I can see. Oh no, quickest I can see is Andrew Dyson. But not Damian Johnson not far behind. Rob Bowden now in 8th, then we go Stephen Varga 9, and Jamie Dyke round out your top 10. So plenty of little changes there, and Jaden Borg now moving back in the pack with that late pit stop strategy. It doesn't look like Tom Freer is still out there, I do believe. It says it's up here on the timing screen. He is somewhere out there, but right back in the pack. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to Tom Freer or whether he's had another one of those could-be moments where the strategy was looking fantastic, and unfortunately, with the race just hasn't played out the way he needed it to.
Yeah, not really too sure what really befell him there, but the way this has sort of played out, it's going to make it a very tough run for him to try and work his way down, especially coming back from 28th position. He's got still some pretty quick cars between himself, even the top 15, if he wants to try and claw his way back into that. So it's going to be a hard charge for him to come through. We've got still 22 laps left in this, and yeah, a lot of work for him to do.
So, coming back in this lap, boys.
Be interesting to find out what's happened actually to Tom Freer, because he's taken 2 pit stops. So maybe he's had an incident we have not seen on the screen.
I'm thinking it's a hardware failure because we saw him go straight ahead at that bus stop chicane on the back straight and then straight into the pit lane. So it might have been a hardware failure that triggered that one. And then the last one would have been just to do the pit stop for the tyres and fuel to make the end of the race.
Yeah, that's probably a good indication that something has gone wrong there. Like you say, I do remember now he did pull in the pits early when he ran off. So we'll see how this goes. The lights are out on the safety car and we are about to get back underway and racing. Lap 18 is where we're at the moment. We're not quite at the halfway point as the Jinx Shifters safety car moves away from the pack. It is in the hand of James Scott again to get started. Now it's going to happen between turn 16 and 17. We've still got a little bit of time to go around this banking. He is the absolute master when it comes to pit stops. He is also a master when it comes to restarts. Corey Shepherd has surely learnt a lot over this last couple of seasons about James Scott's restart. He needs to just stay with him. Scott's been able to do some fuel saving behind and just stay with him and put himself in the right position for that pit stop strategy to get the jump on him, which has happened. Now what does Corey Shepherd do to respond? Because he needs to watch out for Andrew Dyson, who's in 3rd position. And don't forget, Jordan Ross and Adam Briggs right behind him. Now, Jordan Ross has been super aggressive here tonight to put the pressure on the cars in front. The restart is happening. And we drive away, and Scott once again gets a nice little start there. And just opens up the tiniest of gaps over Corey Shepherd again with that restart. And Corey Shepherd gets away from Andrew Dyson a little bit. Now, we're talking nothing here, guys. You know, a couple of hundredths of a second, but it all happens in the first couple of laps as they get through the concrete jungle, turns number 1 and 2. And looks like most of that is done. And Jordan Ross now showing the nose to Andrew Dyson, as we can see in the background there. So he's already putting the pressure on there and just getting in those side mirrors and probably in the head of Mr. Dyson at the moment. Oh, looks like he might take a bit of a move here as they come back up onto the banking. Turn number 8 it is. And he's got the run. Does he get it done? Looks like he has the nose in front at the moment. Dyson may have to get back to pull him behind him. Briggs, though, his teammate, what will he do to Dyson? I think he's just going to slot back in behind, play the safe game here at the moment. As you can see, 3 Simrigs DPR cars all in a row there. Dyson, Briggs and Kenneth Ladder. That's good to have up in the coverage there, but they're not going to give up on this. And Jordan Ross now has got white cars everywhere. He's seeing triple. Is the end at the moment. Look at Dyson, he goes right up under the wing. Now he's got the nose on the inside of this banking. Comes down. Ross is going to have the drive here though on the right-hander. We don't want to see the Simring guys coming together here either. Damien Johnson just off the back of that, and Rob Bowden with a bit of a brake lock-up in the background there as well, Dan.
Yeah, it's a really good jump from all these guys, and a very smart move there from Jordan Ross to get that move completed very early on in the opening restart lap. But for Dyson, I mean, you saw try to do the exact same thing that Jordan did prior to the safety car, where he got the nose down the inside under the double lines there to try and maximise the speed and shorten up that corner. Didn't quite work for him on that chance, but he was able to pull the car up nicely in the brakes. So it's going to be a fantastic little scrap now with just on halfway here for these guys. So plenty more racing still in it, but this fight for third position is really starting to heat up as everyone is in close proximity.
No, they are absolutely in close proximity. Now, Gilliam is back up to P11 now in the Pursuit Sim Racing entry and right on the back of Jamie Dyke in Fisher Motorsport. So with Gilliam's pace we saw in qualifying, I'm just having a look at some of his lap times, of course. 1:17 is his best in race mode, but he has not had clean air for a number of laps. What we are seeing, though, is James Scott and Corey Shepherd blistering pace out the front. Now, James Scott is around a 1:16.11, Corey Shepherd a 1:16.06, so they are so evenly matched. You could not throw a blanket over them, really. They are just going to keep this battle going on and on and on. The question is, Scott didn't seem to have the pace to do a move on Shepherd, or not to do it without risk, and will Shepherd now have the pace to be able to catch up to Scott and make that manoeuvre, Norrie?
Short answer, no. Longer answer, Shepherd probably was using the track to his advantage. Like we know with this circuit, Charlotte Roval, there's a lot of places where you can't pass, as we're seeing Hinz and Borg, McAvoy and Talyanjic in a battle there. But there's not a lot of places to pass around this circuit, so you've really got to make the risky call and make this run, like you're saying from Talyanjic, right down the inside, make it decisive. But your opponent gets the inside run, so you've got to make it decisive and make it clear. I don't think Shepherd's going to do that to Scott tonight.
Well, Talyanchic's trying to make his way back through the field. I mean, after last week's effort, he's going to try and do it again. He started at P16. He's been involved in that incident in lap 1, and then he also got a penalty as well. So that's why we see him all the way back. Now, the Borgie's bonnet is back on, which will be great for Racecraft. It's a great sponsor of his, and we'll see Borgie can get that bonnet back on just for his sponsors on the telecast here. So we get out in the broadcast, and show it to the world, of course, of Racecraft. Great supporters there for Borgie. All right, we head back to, we go down the field a little bit now. Robin Kirk, obviously, and David Kimmond battling it out at the moment. As you can see Kirk on the inside there. Just in front, though, is Tom Frere. Now, he is moving again back to 23rd position now. He's made about, from memory, or he's just made another position there. Oh, no, we've got someone spun out. It's one of the Coda Sim Sports guys. Is that Jaden Borg, is it?
Yeah, Borg involved in that one with McAvoy.
I'm really upset by that because that livery, I wanted that to stay on there. It was pretty clean up until this point. You check out the replay up there on screen at the moment, and Jaden Borg is out. McAvoy might be involved in that too. We're not quite sure where that might be. Let's check it out on screen now. Talyanchis has gone by. Borg's now putting all the pressure on McAvoy. He comes down the inside. He's fairly clean car, and he makes contact under brakes. A bit of a lock-up. Nowhere for Tom Frere to go, and that's going to hurt him and his charge to get back into it. And of course, then we see a number of cars involved in that, and David Kimmond as well, nowhere to go. And that's the point, isn't it? That turn 1, turn 2 area, guys. If you get a car sideways, you're going to lose the side mirrors getting by.
Well, yeah, and that's a bit of a weird incident there because with Borg trying to get under McAvoy there, he sort of had a half hole to try and get the car in there, snatched the brake initially on turn-in, which is obviously what sent the cars around, and we just see another car in the wall there. I think that's Stephen Varga, who's facing the opposite direction through the bus stop. That's not great for him to be, as we quickly have a look at this one as well. So he's picked up a little bit of the grass on the run in and just gets a helping hand hard into the wall there. He's fortunate not to bounce too far back into the traffic, but that's potentially an engine blow as we see the telltale smoke signs. But just going back to that incident with Borg there, once he lost the rear end, there was not much he could do with it, and he found him sideways on that road.
That was Gilliam that was behind him, so we'll wait to hear what race control has to say, whether there was any contact there. I couldn't quite tell from the replay, from the angle we had, so, but you never know. It could actually be him involved, and that might not be, so we'll wait to find out from race control.
We are going to a safety car. The radios did light up with Gillingham saying sorry at that moment, but I didn't hear the response. It sounded colourful.
Well, that's Harry Dodd's. Not a great night for him. A car is spun out, and we are on safety car 3, which I do believe we said 2 safety cars. So no one has won the bet this week on the pre-race show. We are back to none for none. We've all lost our money this week, boys.
Yeah, well, not the best for us. Although I do think Dodd might have mentioned maybe three safety cars there while we were all going for 2. So maybe he's got the bet at the moment.
Maybe Mr. Rudd will actually know what's going on. So he's got the... He knows, put it that way. He's had a good bet on this weekend. We'll see how we go through the rest of the race. Now, we have a look. James Scott is now behind the Jinx Shifters safety car. Corey Shepherd in P2. Jordan Ross holds on to that P3 over Andrew Dyson. Now, Kenneth Latta has made it past Adam Briggs while we've been involved in this. As we just want to have a quick look at a replay. That's all. We're finding out what's going on. So Adam Briggs is back in 6th. Damien Johnson now in 7th position, up 5 positions. Rob Bowden in 8th in the Tanked SRT entry. Andrew Gilliam is back in the top 10, guys. He's in P9 after starting at a P2. So he is pushing through, and we're waiting to find out, like you say, Norrie, with the words over the radio, whether he was actually involved in that little incident earlier with Stephen Varga, where there was contact, and what will be the repercussions of that if there was contact made.
Yeah, our race control do a fantastic job, and they will be looking at that incident in high detail. They will not want to make a mistake on that call, but it's unfortunate for Gillingham to be in that position where he's come back to the series after an absence since round 2, and we're going to go green again this lap. So back control to James Scott.
Well, that's unfortunate looking at that replay up there of Gilliam, and looks like there was contact made, and so we'll wait to see what race control has to say, because that could really hurt Gilliam's charge, as he is back in the top 10 after all the work he's had to do early in the race after going back so many positions. Hopefully for him, he doesn't receive a penalty. However, it could happen. So we'll wait to find out what goes on there. As you can see, the back of Scott's car. Shepherd in the Mr. Antenna Mustang just needs to stay there, mate. Just contact yourself there, glue yourself to the back of James Scott's car, because he is going to restart at any moment. You need to be prepared for it. There we go. Waits right on that apex, doesn't he? It takes away, and you see just opens up a nice little gap over there on Shepherd in the first corner. Let's see how we go going through this concrete jungle in turns 1 and 2. They get so close, and it's where we see a lot of supercar races where they lose the side mirrors. I really love to see a fine detail that one, guys. Side mirror just coming off here throughout the racing. You see Shepherd goes a little bit wider there, and now Jordan Ross, Andrew Dyson's going to do exactly what Jordan Ross did to him and put this pressure on the restart and see if he can get a move done there in the Simrig's DPR car. They all sort of make it through now. Looks like the usual suspects. Can't see any carnage happening on their timing screens in the back, though, so that's good news for us. Looks like we're going to, though, watch Kenneth Latta and Adam Briggs. Now, they swapped positions there a bit earlier, just before the safety car came. We'll see how they go. Rob Bowden, though, up in the top 10 at the moment in position number 8 with Andrew Gilliam just behind. So watch to see if race control have any repercussions about what happened earlier. We'll find out, but Rob Bowden still holding into that top 10, and Damien Johnson in front of him. And then it is a trio of Simrig's cars at the moment. As you can see them all lined up, the DPR entry.
Rob's doing a fantastic job holding on to that position there. As you have a look at Tom's Hins and Dylan Rudd continuing their little exchange. Actually, sorry, it's Hins and Dyke and Rudd just a little further back. So these guys continuing on their fight. We did see two from race control. The 094 Jaden Borg entry has been issued a drive-through penalty following that earlier contact, which just prior to the safety car. So we'll see the Coda Sim Sports driver back in the lane to serve that drive-through. But this fight here, just on that top 10, really starting to heat up as the tyres now starting to come up to operating temperature. And looking at Dylan Rudd, just sitting in the background, he has got a very good opportunity to try and send one through on Dyke.
Yeah, you just need to be careful, don't you? There's certain sections of the track, and as you touched on it, Norrie, not a lot of overtaking opportunities here. You really need to be, you need to commit. If you're going to do an overtaking opportunity, you really need to commit to that one. Of course, we are on lap 26 of 40, so we are well and truly into this race now. The pit stops have happened. Everybody has done at least one pit stop. No one has held out. So they could have made it this far. They're all going to get home on fuel from this point. So don't expect to see someone come in for a scheduled pit stop for fuel or tyres. We're heading home from here. If you just joined us on the coverage here for the Jinx Shifters AOSC10 round number 11 from Charlotte. But with the amount of damage we've seen, that's what we see people going in for, the quick repairs, especially when they're brushing the walls. Brian Borg, well, he ran a number of laps in this race without a bonnet, you know. He was bonnetless Borgy as he locks the brakes up there. A lot of curb and contact made, and it comes down. Oh, no. He just can't stay out of it. Nitsky and Timors go by. Aaron Dodd, too, I think he made contact with there as he took that curb. And Dodd's now on the outside. Can he hold on to this one? He has so much damage hanging off that car. Mate, the steering wheel must be at about a 45-degree angle, I reckon, on his sim to keep that car straight.
Race control has just confirmed Andrew Gilligan with a drive-through, and I'm going to change Borgie's nickname as now he's sideways. I'm calling him Bingle Borgie.
Bingle Borg. I tell you what, if you're an iRacing panel beater, Borgie's keeping you in business tonight. That's what's happening there. He's very unlucky. He loves to be up in the coverage, but not for these reasons. And he had a really good start to the series, but you know, after about round 6, his luck just ran out there, and unfortunately looks like he's involved in another incident and moving further back down the field. So that's very unfortunate for him. But like you say, Gilliam getting a penalty for the contact with Vargas earlier. So Gilliam will serve a penalty for that, and we will see him go down the ranks again, which is very unfortunate after being back up into P9. He'll be trying to stay out of trouble on this lap before he has to come in now. Tom Freer, look at the work he is doing at the moment. He is now back up to P20, but he was way down the pack before. So, and unfortunately involved in that little incident before, he looks like he got a little bit of a scrape there, but got away with not too much damage on the car. So the 707 now pushing to get his way back up into the mix there, as Andrew Gilliam now is in the pits and serving that pit stop penalty.
Yeah, but keep an eye out for Borg here. May get a penalty. We saw just on the last lap there, he had a big tank slapper moment and actually went side on into Robin Kirk, and that sent the Simring CPR car well down the order as well. Kirk down now in 25th position. So here's a quick look at the replay to see how this one unfolded. As Borg comes through, he's just got the move done on Talyancic there, gets the bit of a tank slap up, and then it's hard into the backside there of Kirk, and Kirk really nowhere to go. Unfortunate for him, just glances the wall, able to get it back out and underway. So no safety car as a result of that one. Doesn't look like any major damage on it, but we may still see a drive-through at least for Brian there.
Yeah, we'll wait to see what race control has to say about that one. So another unlucky night there for Brian Borg. But as you can see, Nitschke now in the Frog Leap racing car is up on screen and getting around P14. And this is a great result, I reckon, for the Frog Leap Racing boys and Brent Nitschke tonight. I believe this will be one of their better results as well. So having a good night there. And this is the difference, isn't it, Norrie, when you come to a track like this, where the difficulty is staying out of trouble. It's not necessarily about running the fastest time. It's about just staying out of contact with anyone and finishing the race.
Not wrong. It's definitely about making sure you stay out of trouble. A fast time will help you get there, but it's not going to help you get there if the car's in 7 different pieces all over the road. So, Ryan, sorry, tonight is not your night, but it looks like James Scott and Corey Shepherd are running away with this one. Fast times will help, but staying out of trouble, definitely the way forward.
Just got that position back over Kenneth Ladder too to put himself into P5. So all we need is Dyson to get Jordan Ross, and we've got our normal 3-5 back from the DPR boys. So let's see if he can do that. Jordan Ross hasn't been able to hold with the top 2, of course, under fire from the Simrigs DPR guys. and that's probably held him back a little bit as well. So there's a bit of a gap there to the top two. Now we've blown that out to 2 seconds to our leaders. And then we got the little battle pack going on further down. As you can see, the ladder now off the back of this one. And he's got to watch out for Damien Johnson, who's in position 7 now. He's putting a fair bit of pressure on at the moment. There we go. Corey Shepherd, though, in P2. Started out of P1 on the front row. And surprisingly, it was actually James Scott who was on row number 2. Let's see how this goes. Last time, though, these guys came out was the exact same. Corey Shepherd got him in qualifying, but James Scott just got there under the race strategy, and it was a pit stop time. It was only a 0.3 of a second or something like that in the pits. It wasn't much the difference there. So just got him there, and they came out together. Luckily with the iRacing, they can overlap there. Otherwise, you know, in real life, that might have been a different scenario there if Corey Shepherd actually got back out in front. As we get back on with Michael Taliancic now. He started out of P16. He's back up to P15 now. He has served a penalty. He's been involved in some race incidents. He got a penalty earlier there, so he's already done a drive-through. So to get back into P15 is another fantastic drive from him. Unfortunately, though, he can't get in the top 10 there in qualifying. He just can't get a clean run at the moment, can he, Dan?
Well, he's had a couple little incidents, but he's driven fantastically back through the field following the earlier penalty that he's got. He's applying the pressure now on Brenton Nishke, as we see the Froggy Racing car up ahead. But, I mean, anytime you can come up with a positive gain, and we've still got 9 laps left in this one, with Taliancic up 1 spot. But if you can come back after that sort of adversity, get back into the positives and start clawing your way further up the field, it's got to be a good night for you.
Well, I'll tell you what, Taliancic, going off his efforts last week, he could make that into the top 10 still. He's, it's been another hard-fought race from him, but definitely got some fantastic race pace. I'd really love to see him qualify a little bit further up and see what he can do with the car. You see Stephen Varga there earlier involved in an incident, got turned around there from Gilliam. Just got a little nudge from behind going through one of those bus stops. I believe it was turn 16. And now having to fight his way back after getting some repairs there. So he is back down in position 26, and that's Wade Sheedy just in front. And the scars are showing on a number of the cars here. The bonnetless Sheedy now getting around. And how many cars? Oh, here we go. A bit of a move there. Shepherd shows the nose. Scott gets up on the curb and then goes wide. Shepherd now has to back off there and just slot back in behind. So these guys now starting to just share a little bit of their liveries with each other at the moment, guys. This is turning into a little bit of a battle for one, and I think you're right. Scott Shepherd there really needs to put the pressure on now because he is running out of laps.
Yeah, well, we didn't see whether there was a moment between that one that led to the move there from Shepherd, but we assume it's going to be down into the brakes. It's just being able to apply that little bit more pressure. But for the first time in a long while, we've got the witness marks down the side of James Scott's car. So these guys are not leaving anything on the table as they work their way around for the final 8 laps here. And at the moment, it must be said, Shepherd looking that little bit stronger as James really having to go defensive to try and hold him off.
Yeah, just not using all that track, is he, Norrie?
No, not at all. Don't want to take away from this battle, but race controllers said Brian Borg and the car that he turned around are racing incident, no further action. But this is the first time we've seen Shepherd actually applying pressure to James Scott in a long while, and I've got to say it is refreshing to see. I didn't think Corey would jump tonight, but it looks like he's just agitated. He's sick of the bridesmaid's dress. He wants a crown. He wants a trophy.
Oh, well, will he be up there? Will he be in the spotlight tonight? He might not be a bridesmaid tonight. He might be a bride. Let's see how it goes. But, you know, just showing how much maturity he's gaining from the amount of laps he's putting together through various series when it comes to racing, but doing fantastic things here in the AOSC in season number 10. And is it his night to shine on top of the podium? He might get it done over James Scott. He's beaten him in the past this season. He beat him in round number 2 there at Road America, but it was after James Scott got involved in an incident on the final corner of the final lap. Can Corey Shepherd do it tonight? Can he just apply the pressure there, as you see James Scott there getting very defensive and shallow as he comes out of the corners to make sure Shepherd can't get by. Shepherd has the opportunity to slide the car out wide and try and drive this car out as much as possible. Careful not to drop that wheel on the grass here as he goes really wide. Shepherd pulling the car in here. He's definitely not on the fuel save. They don't need to fuel save at all. So that is one of the things, though, we need to remember at the final part of this race is they took it about lap 17 when the safety car was coming out. They all came in and pitted. So definitely heaps of fuel to go full throttle all the way to the end. There is nothing in that sort of strategy that we need to worry about it is all happening with Jordan Ross back in P3. 4 is Dyson, 5th is Briggs, Ladder in 6th, Johnson in 7th, Bowden in 8th, Hins in 9 now in the top 10, and Dylan Rudd rounds out your top 10. As you can see, Ross now caught up to this little battle, so they are slowing down. And Jordan Ross, I'm just having a look at the last lap, he's caught them up by 7 hundredths of a second. Sorry, 7/10 of a second. So catching on them every lap at the moment.
And this battling between Shepherd and Scott, as we see the guys run out wide, Shepherd with a little bit of a nudge of the wall there, is really starting to hurt their momentum, and it's really bringing in the guys behind. And we get a 3-horse race. And in the next coming laps, I expect to see Dyson close into that. Briggs is not that far off. You can just see him in the top shot right there. So these 5 are going to really close it in. We're down on 5 laps still to go. They're still battling further down the field at the moment, mind you, with Chris Barnes and Jaden Borg continuing their little exchange down in towards that 15, 16, 17 complex, and Borg recovering his way through after the earlier damage that he got. Nick Timors has had a very good run tonight, still defending off Tom Freer down in 17th position. These guys are not letting anything go. But up front, that battle still raging on. Briggs is down further than we're used to seeing him as well, down in 10th position now.
Something has happened to him in the last lap for him to go back, because he was just off the back of Dyson before in front of Ladder. So he was in P5, and something has definitely happened to him, whether he's locked a brake, but he has gone back a number of positions. Let's have a look at the replay here, up on screen here. And there you see him, he's in P5 at this stage, and this is Adam Briggs up on screen. Just runs wide, gets on the grass, has a brush with the concrete wall, and luckily he slides the car up there. There won't be too much damage, but then you got to wait for everyone to go back past and rejoin this, and that is why he's gone back. Now, he was all the way back in P10. Luckily, he's got one of those positions back to go back live at the moment here for the Jinx Shifters AOSC10, and it looks like James Scott now just a little bit of air between them. I'm just having a look, though. It looks like Corey Shepherd had a faster last lap, but Jordan Ross was the fastest out of this battle pack. Oh, defensive, and Jordan Ross here, what's he going to do? He might just come from nowhere. Scott goes wide. Shepherd's there. Ross is involved. Oh, Scott's gone all the way back to P4. He hasn't waited until the last lap. Dyson's got through as well, and he's going to have to work his way back through some very competitive drivers now if he wants to get back up to Corey Shepherd, and he is running out of laps. We're on lap 35, and Shepherd, can he bring this home? Because Jordan Ross, check out this, the replay up on the screen at the moment. James Scott gets defensive. Shepherd comes to the inside. They both go off. Then you see Scott run wide here under brakes. You nearly see Ross take all of them go through. Shepherd regains himself and gets there. Dyson does a nice move just to slot himself in between. And Scott has to go back to P4, and he is off the podium at the moment here in round number 11 at Charlotte with only 4 laps left in this race.
Well, he's just pulled himself back up into 3rd position. He's got the move done on Kenneth Ladder. As Jordan Ross now up into the lead of the race. Fantastic run through 17. Gets around Shepherd, which is not something we expected to see in this point of the race. But Jordan Ross getting himself some air. That battle for 3rd still continuing on, though, with Dyson and Scott. And here's a look at the replay of how Ross was able to get this move completed.
Goes around the outside banking there with the run. Gets on the inside there. Gets right up on the pillar there. Shepherd can't come down now. He has to pull back on that position, and Ross goes through nicely and already starting to pull away here too. He's out to 6/10 of a second. So the JK Signs entry of Jordan Ross, mate, he has had some bad luck so far in this championship series, but mate, last week he got in 3rd position. We thought maybe he'd improve and get into 2nd. He is leading the race now with only 4 laps left in this one, and can he hold out Corey Shepherd? Scott now is behind Shepherd, so they may end up battling, which really could hurt them when it comes down to chasing Jordan Ross, who is just moving away from the rest of them, already blowing that out at the moment. As we move back now to Rob Bowden, as he is holding out Adam Briggs, who had a bit of an incident earlier, went back as he locks the brakes up again there, and Dylan Rudd all over the back, and now looks like they are too wide coming out of that little bus stop section. With the tanked SRT car of Rob Bowden there, holding out in P8, Adam Briggs there in P9 with Dylan Rudd on the outside. He's not going to give up this position very easily. You think Briggs has been super fast. Here we go now. Corey Shepherd is all on the back of Jordan Ross. He's regained his composure after that last little tussle they've had on the last lap. It might have upset him a bit. James Scott just sort of set him off a bit. But Ross, the JK Signs entry, he needs to hold out. He's got another 4 lap. Well, he's got to complete 4 laps, really, doesn't he? They're on lap 37, so they've got 3 and a bit laps, 3 3/4 laps about now for the Mr. Antenna car to make this happen, as we check out a replay up on screen now, which of course is Nicholas Timors.
Yeah, this is with Tyson McAvoy. We did see some smoke signals down the back there. I'm not sure whether someone's just locked a brake or what, but here we are. Timor's losing the back end of that car, keeps it off the wall, so fortunate for him, he gets back underway, but loses that one spot as a result.
You're very lucky for that spin out to happen where it was for Timor's too, because no other cars involved in that incident. It was just a car on his own spinning out. So this is Johnson now putting a little bit of a move on. Looks like he's going to try and get past the ladder. He pulls it up under brakes. Big squiggle there. Ladder holds onto it, but Johnson, can he do the crisscross? Ladder's going to have the inside run here. Johnson might get the run around the outside on the banking though. Oh, Johnson, the JK Science cars, they're the Synergy Sim Racing boys. They are on a charge, and I think we spoke about it in the pre-race show. Oh no! Is that Dylan Rudd?
That's right, the car just went straight on him. He's in the wall, and that's an engine gone. His night is over.
That is unfortunate. We had him on the race this week. Look, consolation prize, we'll check out the replay at the moment, he is winning the bet, 3 safety cars. So there is a consolation prize tonight, guys. Just having a look here. We'll see how much he grabs a fair bit of curb, and well, now we can see the damage on the front of that car, and engine is gone now. I'm assuming, Nora, you're listening for the safety car, because it's possible that may have it.
Yeah.
Here we go. They come around. Oh.
Listening for the safety car. Oh, that just whack and gone and pop.
I think looking at where he pulled that up, we may avoid that safety car because it is in a runoff zone there, and short of the guys going head on into that, I don't think anyone's going to find contact. It looks like he has been able to escape back to the lane.
Well, only 2.5 laps left in this race. I'm hoping that is exactly what's going to happen, because the battle continues on at the moment. As you can see up on screen, it is the battle now for 5th position with Ladder, Hinds, Johnson, Bowden, Briggs. And how is this that Johnson's gone back and Hinds has got himself into this battle as well? So Thomas Hinds now making some movement in the middle here, up 7 positions into P6. Now, Rob Bowden's going to have to watch out, because Adam Briggs now pushing the simrigs.com DPR car, gets down the inside, he's going to get the move done and moves up, and the next car he's looking at in front of him is Damien Johnson. Needs to get that done for Briggsy if he can move up into P6. Corey Shepherd.
Dyson in the wall.
Ross, oh, we got Dyson in the wall in the background.
Yeah, he's kept it going. I think he just glanced the wall there, so that's going to rule him out of contention in this one, potentially, as this top 3 is still closing in, and Shepherd all over the back of Ross like a rash.
Scott's actually improving his times here now. He's cut 3 tenths out of these guys in the last lap, is what James Scott done. He's all over the back now. He's running out of laps though. Like really, we have 1.5 laps left in this race at the moment as they make their way up into the banking. They're going to go around the back section past turn 10 and then hard into turn 11. So Scott not quite close enough though to make a move. He's way off as Jordan Ross now needs to get defensive, and a bit of contact there, and Shepherd now locks the brakes up. Ross. Scott's now going to go by. Shepherd's now going to go
Scott's back in front.
Oh my God, it is all happening. I mean, do you think if you're James Scott right then, you think, no, this isn't happening, this can't be. Surely these guys can't make that happen. As Gordon Ross moves into P2 there, and Dyson goes by. Corey Shepherd now all the way back to P4. Well, not all the way back, but you think with only 1 lap left to go, the final lap, he slides the car out. We're on the last lap now, though. Lap number 40 here. Race 186 at AOSC10, all thanks to Jinx Shifters, and we've had so much change in the leadership in the last few laps. It has gone down to the wire. Jordan Ross was in P3 last week. He's now in P2 as we check out the replay. This is where it all happened. He gets defensive there. Jordan Ross. Shepherd comes down, they get under the brakes, both of them hard on the brakes, lock up there, they go wide on the inside of the curb. James Scott just has to take a bit of a wider line there, but he's definitely got the run coming out, and Jordan Ross comes in behind, and while that happens, Andrew Dyson goes past Corey Shepherd as well. So now Shepherd glances the wall again. He's in all sorts of hurt after locking those brakes up. The tyres must be hurting at the moment as they come around the final few corners. Head down to turn number 11. We've only got about 6 corners left in this. They're going to have to go through this tricky section. I think Corey Shepherd doesn't need to push too much harder there. He just needs to bring this car home at the moment. Scott has got a little bit of a gap over Jordan Ross now. Andrew Dyson just behind him. We're just looking for a mistake at this point. If you've joined us in the coverage, any little mistake now is where it's going to be. They just need to bring these cars home. James Scott. What a let-off as he takes the checkered flag. Jordan Ross in second, Andrew Dyson third, and Corey Shepherd limps home the Mr. Antenna Mustang and what could have been. Kenneth Ladder in fifth, Damien Johnson in sixth, Thomas Hinds in seventh, Rob Bowden comes back in. Adam Briggs in 8th, Rob Bowden in 9, Jamie Dyke then is in 10, Sebastian Flock in 11, then we go back to 12, Michael Talianchitz, Christian Smart in 13th. 14th is Greg Sharp in the Dakota Simsport entry. Brenton Nitschke now coming around to take the checkered flag in P15, the Frog Leap Racing. And a couple of cars backing him up. Tom Freer makes it back to P16 there in the 707. And behind him will be Tyson McAvoy in the One Performance Racing. So the Synergy Sim Racing guys, really well done tonight. As you can see there, they've got P2, they've got themselves in P6, and then a couple more. We go back to obviously Christian Smart in 13, and then Tom Freer in 16. Another unlucky night when it comes to strategies for Tom Freer.
Yeah, didn't quite get the run that he needed to work his way back through. We saw him involved in a few incidents over the course of that one, so a little bit disappointing for him, but he was able to still challenge for the entirety of the race. One guy we didn't get a quick mention of at the back end of that race with all the excitement that was going on, Brian Borg, we believe, was DQ'd due to an incident infraction, and Andrew Gilliam also didn't complete the run. So some unfortunate ends for a few of the drivers out there tonight as well.
Yeah, his bad luck continues, doesn't it, Norrie, for Brian Borg?
Yeah, it's not a good run for Brian Borg. I shouldn't have given him the commentator's curse, calling him Bingle Borgie, but he'll take some consolation from that one tonight and come back next week even stronger.
Well, we're going to talk about those top four. I mean, Jordan Ross and Corey Shepherd getting into it with one lap left in the race and giving James Scott the opportunity to get back after he made a mistake earlier. So it was all happening. The top four went right down to the final lap of the race. It was absolutely fantastic to watch here from Charlotte. 40 laps completed, around 11 of the Jinx Shifters Australian Online Supercar Championship. AOSC10 it is. Big shout out to our sponsors, simrigs.com, Sydney Computers, Bala Media and Sideways Photography, Race Circuit Art Australia, AJ Insurance Services, and of course track cams for gourmets, as we can see them up on screen. So our results tonight, James Scott is won once again in what was a fantastic night of racing, and I do believe he has joined us here in the commentary booth. James, congratulations on another round win, and did you think it wasn't going to happen there with a couple of laps left?
Yeah. I definitely, after I went off, that was really bad. That's something you'd expect to see in a rookie race, to be honest. But yeah, so I really dirty at myself over that. But I suppose I just tried to give myself a chance at the end. You never know what's going to happen at the end of these races. So I just gave myself an opportunity, and turned out to be beneficial.
How difficult on like compared to other tracks I've been to this season, how difficult is Charlotte? Is it one of the more difficult tracks?
Yeah, Charlotte's pretty tough. I'd probably rank it just behind Belle Isle. And I can't really comment on Long Beach. I haven't really driven there, but in terms of sort of these, it's not really a street track, but these tight tracks with concrete on either side. Yeah, I'd probably rank it third behind those two. But in saying that, I don't really like the track, to be honest. Ever since I've only ever done 2 races there, but I really don't like it. Which probably showed in a bit in my pace tonight that I didn't do much practice.
Yeah, I was going to say Corey Shepherd at qualifying, probably a bit of an unusual situation to be on row 2 so far. And Andrew Gilliam, we lost him a bit earlier in the race, but he really could have got between you and Corey Shepherd if something hadn't happened to him early in the race.
Yeah, for sure. Andrew, I've raced Andrew in some other series. And obviously, everyone will probably remember the incident we had at Road America, I think it was. Yeah, it was Road America. But we put that past us now. We talk a fair bit. I like to think we're pretty good mates. And yeah, Andrew's really fast, so I was expecting a really tight battle between us three. But I think I have to go back and look. But I think he got some damage at the first corner of the race. I think he tried to go around the outside and understeered off into the wall. But yeah, unlucky for him.
Mate, another fantastic result for you, though. And, of course, you need to thank your sponsors as you move forward in this championship.
Yeah, obviously, all our great sponsors at Altus Esports, Logitech G, Astro Gaming, Cube Controls, Own 3D, Racetech Seats, and Virtual Racing School. We couldn't do it without those guys. And we'll have to try and improve the car for next week because, yeah, our pace was really not that great tonight. But
yeah, Jordan Ross is coming for you as well.
Yeah, Jordan Ross is doing really well. I do feel. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked at that incident on the last lap too much. I'd only seen it from the cockpit. It was a aggressive move, I guess you could say, from Corey, but I mean, one he probably had to try and do to try and get the win. But I mean, if you don't make it, have an opportunity like that, and try and put a pass on, well, you're always going to finish second. So you had to try and do something, and unlucky for both those guys that it didn't work out.
Well, it moves you up to 34 career wins in the AOSC. So congratulations again tonight, and we can't wait to see you for round number 12.
Thanks, guys. And thanks to the series admin and you guys for putting on the broadcast.
No worries. Well, I'm sure we'll speak to you very shortly, because we've still got a few rounds left in the AOSC10, of course. We've got 5 rounds left to go as we start to look at whether we bring in, who are we going to bring in next. Looks like we've got to bring in P number 2. This man, he got P3 last week on the podium. He almost come home with the win tonight, but ended up in P2. Jordan Ross, mate, welcome into the commentators booth.
Guys, cool to be here.
It's cool to be here. You had to get super defensive there in those last couple of laps, but what a race between you, Corey Shepherd, and James Scott.
I worked all week on getting the front end of the car to last, because the degradation was quite high, and you know, they seemed to drive away from me at the start of the tyre stint, and then I seemed to be able to bring it back at the end. So it was pretty cool to close in on them and have a crack. I actually don't know what happened when I went up the inside. I don't know what happened to James, but yeah, no, it was mad, and that wasn't really Corey's fault there at the end. He was just having a dip and a couple laps to go, and unfortunately didn't pull it off, but all good.
No, I think any racer would have had a go. It was probably, there's not many overtaking opportunities at this track, is there? So when you get one, you got to try and go for it.
Yeah, and I think I qualified 5th or 6th or something, so I had to come through and do a bit of passing tonight, and had a good mad battle with Dyson. So that was pretty cool. And James gets the win again. How lucky is he? I was like, anyone come sailing through when I went through, straight on the chicane, and it was bloody James that come through.
Yeah, I tell you what, he made a mistake, and we haven't seen very few mistakes from him throughout this series this year. So he made a mistake, was to let you and Corey go by, and even Andrew Dyson, and to get that, basically got those positions back. Yeah, he's had a bit of a lucky night tonight. So, but mate, we can't put it past you. You've been improving every week. Probably not the best start of the season you wanted. Just a lot of bad luck, I would call it. But it looks like the Synergy Sim Racing, your crew are getting this car set up, and the new build in iRacing seems to be responding well to what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Like I say, last week when I was 3rd, I was. The team's working really hard, and I think we're creeping up on it. Probably not the outright pace, but we sort of, if we haven't got the outright pace like tonight, we worked on making the car live a little bit. And even Tom was up there. He was a bit unlucky at the start. He didn't put enough fuel in. But, one day it'll all click, and we'll be able to, try and win a race on pace, which will be cool.
Yeah, it'd be good to see you guys team up. And, any of your sponsors you need to thank?
Sorry, what's that?
Any of your sponsors you want to go through and thank?
Yeah, everyone at Synergy Sim Racing, JK Signs, you guys for rolling up every Friday night and putting on this show, Nick and Mark behind the scenes, and all AOSC.
And we do believe we're getting told it's your 37th podium too in AOSC. So we'll rank that up, and we'll see. 3rd for the season too, so we'll see how you go in the back end of the season. We've still got 5 rounds to go, and we got a long endurance, a couple of endurances in there too. So we'll see what happens with those, and hopefully we're talking to get one of those to rank up a whole heap of points.
I think we need to just go win it or bin it now. Any more seconds or thirds.
Oh, well, mate, a podium's a podium. Congratulations on tonight, and hopefully we speak again soon.
Cheers, guys.
All right, well, now we're going to move on to our 3rd place getter tonight, and it all came down to the final laps, and another one who probably witnessed everything happening in front of him, and a little bit of luck and just a little bit of skill to stay out of trouble. Andrew Dyson gets home in 3rd position.
Yeah, thanks, guys. No, a bit of luck in that one again, man. I've lucked out into a few podiums this season. I think about 3 or so. So, no, a bit of luck in that one, but you got to grab them.
You've got to be there to get the lucky moment, though. That's the whole point. You have to be there ready to take that opportunity, and you did tonight. The Simrigs DPR guys. I mean, you guys have been coming on really strong again as a team. There's been quite a few of them. Adam Briggs, your teammate, didn't have a lucky night. Had a bit of an incident and ended up further back down the field, unfortunately. So you've had to bring it home, and instead of going the 3 and 5, you've gone 3 and 8 tonight. So we're a little bit disappointed in that.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, but he was looking like he was pretty close for a. Actually, we were looking all pretty good for like a 4, 5, 6 until there was a fair bit of bust ups going on. But yeah, I mean, it's still a good result, especially for Briggs too. I think he said he was struggling with this track, so well, he definitely did say he was struggling a bit with this track, and though undoubtedly through the race, he picked it up, and we can't forget about Ken Latter as well. He had a really good race tonight. That's got to be close to one of his personal best results in AOSC. So congrats to him.
Yeah, P5 for him. So yeah, at one point you were all there. I think some of the guys there. I think Jordan Ross looked in his side mirrors and his rear vision mirror and thought he was seeing triple.
Yeah, no, he was at the front of our little train there for a bit, and he was right in it, and he got out of it pretty quick, smart, but with a good move there too. So it was a smart thing. But great race with him, pretty hard racing too, and we were just saying before, whatever one of us gave to the other gave back just as equal. So it's made it a lot of fun. It was fair, and we had a laugh about it, so it's good.
How hard did you find the track tonight? Was it one of the more difficult tracks?
I don't know. When we raced at this track last year, I hadn't spent a lot of time racing around here in the MX5, but I did spend a little bit of time racing around here in the MX5. It's pretty much one of those tracks that comes up every season in the MX5. So I kind of knew my way around a little bit, and that probably helped a wee bit. And then coming into this year too, same thing. Yeah, so I don't really mind this track. Not that I've raced the MX5 a whole lot, but yeah, I don't really mind this track. And yeah, I mean those two guys at the front in qualifying, Corey and James, even Gilliam tonight, they were next level in qualifying though. So same as usual there. But yeah, I like the track, I guess. Yeah, I think I've said that like 7 times now.
Look, mate, run us through your sponsors tonight. Give them a big thanks.
Yeah, no dramas. Simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, BenMax Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Service, and MP Designs. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast, and of course AOSC putting in all the work to bring this series together. And cheers to the guys for a good race tonight, and congrats James and Jordan. Well, unlucky for Corey too, man. That was a fair income effort.
Yeah, no, unlucky, but he had to take it, mate. He had to take his opportunities, and unfortunately didn't pay off for him tonight. But yeah, congratulations on another podium in AOSC, and we'll see you next round.
Hopefully I'll talk to you next round, but we'll see. See you, boys.
Guys, have we got anything else to dissect tonight? Because, mate, exciting race at the end, wasn't it, Dan and Norrie?
Yeah, it was a really good race up and down throughout the field. I think I particularly might have jumped the gun a little early with the comment that Dyson might have been out of that one after that little bit of a glance with the wall, and to see the way that unfolded at the back end of the race. I mean, he was there to pick up that last couple of spots and gill himself up on the podium. It's interesting to see, though, the couple little chinks in the armour starting to show at the moment for James. I don't know whether this is just a sign of things to come for the end, or maybe just a little bit of an unfortunate run, because I mean we saw the trouble with getting the brakes last time at Hockenheim. We saw the little runoff trying to go defensive on Corey, which ultimately dropped him back to 4th tonight. So maybe just a couple little things to work on, but they are looking still very, very good, and it's only setting up to be a really good conclusion to this championship as we get now a few more guys really closing into the pace of the front runners.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for next round too, Norrie, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight was just crazy, and there was so much carnage going on, left, right, and centre. And James Scott with the Bradbury moment. My God, is that guy any more blessed? He needs a lotto ticket, and next week should be fantastic again.
Well, we thank everyone who has watched us tonight on the YouTube or the Facebook. Doesn't really matter. We love to bring you the coverage here from AOSC10, of course, round number 11, race 186 of the Jinx Shifters series, and it's been another fantastic night of racing. Congratulations to our winners, James Scott, Jordan Ross in 2nd, Andrew Dyson in 3rd. Your top 3. Big shout out to our sponsors, of course, Jinx Shifters, Simrings.com, Sydney Computers, Bowler Media and Sideways Photography, Race Circuit Art Australia, AJ Insurance Services, and Track Cams for Gourmets. But it is a Anzac long weekend for some of us, and it's just a normal Anzac weekend for everyone. I hope everyone gets out there and supports our defence men and women, wherever you may be, or get down your RSL, a bit of a 2-up come Sunday. We want to send, all of our respects out to everyone who serves in our forces and, of course, for this great country. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sign off tonight. And, of course, as we do want to pay our respects we will go out of our broadcast tonight with the last post. But if we just say, lest we forget.